Welcome to the Farms.com Risk Management Educational Commodity Market School video series. This video being brought to you and sponsored by DeKalb Brand Seeds, educate producers and farmers about grain commodity marketing. Well, in this video today, we're going to be focused and we're going to talk about cost-benefit analysis when growing corn. We're going to focus on the corn tools, resources, and best practices. We're going to look at those tools that are created and available for farmers to help you maximize your yield and increase profitability. And we're going to summarize with why you should use them. So we're going to use corn as the example. We're going to use our own corporate farm, Port Dover Farms, as an example, but the corn specialist Greg Stewart from OMAFRA, Ontario Ministry of Agricultural, Food and Rural Affairs, has developed a website to aid farmers with the latest agronomy research and technology. You can go to gocorn.net. That's www.gocorn.net. And one of the interactive tools that he's developed is the Ontario Corn Nitrogen Calculator for both Eastern and Western Ontario producers. Now, again, we're going to use our own corporate farm known as Port Dover Farms. And in this example, we're going to use $7 corn. We're going to use $790 for nitrogen and a yield of 180. And you can see from the example here that it makes a recommendation as to how much nitrogen you should be using on your own farm. And then there's also a side dress recommendation. However, if you change the yield and we drop it to 140, but we maintain price at $7 a bushel, you can see the nitrogen application is a little bit less. And of course, if the price drops to $5 instead of $7, with a yield of 140, the application is even that much lower. So you can see that the amount you use can change depending on some of those assumptions. So other tools and resources include the hybrid comparison selector, crop residue value, manure nutrient calculator, yield response and estimator, Ontario corn replant decision, and then the Canadian corn refuge hybrid selector. With the hybrid comparison selector, this you can compare a couple hybrids with, depending on the moisture of that particular hybrid. With the Ontario crop residue value estimator, helps you identify the nitrogen replacement cost. With the manure nutrient calculator, it helps you determine how many nutrients are within that manure that you're using for your own farm. Yield response and estimator, basically, as it states, depending on how much you apply of nitrogen, what type of yield response will you get? And then the Ontario corn replant decision basically helps a producer decide whether they should replant based on a bunch of assumptions. So I don't know if you've tried some of these tools, but they're really good tools that if you get into a certain situation, I think they could be very, very helpful. Ontario Corn Refuge Hybrid Selector helps you choose a particular hybrid refuge. This is only a guide, so really you should be talking to your seed agent or an agronomist as to which hybrid you should be using. DeKalb also has launched some tools for farmers. The yield estimate application for various BlackBerry devices. There's a link there that I provided here that you can download. It's used basically to help estimate yield during the growing season for farmers. They also have put together a plant population calculator, which helps at the beginning of the growing season for farmers. So, conclusions, rules of thumb, some tough decisions here. Really, it's all about strategy versus recipe. What I mean by that is that I know you guys have gone to farmer meetings in the fall, winter when you're done harvest, and maybe an expert's up there talking about how much nitrogen to apply. And recipe means applying a number, whereas strategy means doing your own homework and fine-tuning the numbers. There's no general P&K strategy for every farmer. Every farmer is unique. 150 pounds of nitrogen can be applied to a non-manure farm, but maybe a manure usage farm may only need 75 pounds of nitrogen. So this points the farmer in the right direction, but is it really the case for your own farm? So again, we suggest doing a little homework. You can save some money and maybe increase your profitability. Management decisions sometimes get compressed. 10 best practices for success. Use rational analysis when it comes to cash rents, not instincts. We like to use economics. Again, if the price of corn is $7, you can pay more, and if it falls, obviously you're going to have to pay less. Shop around for inputs. Watch for those seasonal lows, particularly for nitrogen during the late summer, early fall time period. Overpaying for farmland at the top from market with too much leverage could cost you. That investment could turn sour if the markets turn sour. Small farmers are actually buying fixer-upper farms or improving their existing properties to get top returns. Large farmers vertically integrate. In other words, they eliminate the middleman by putting up their own storage, fuel depots, and so on and so forth. Others use a different approach to lower that cost of production by teaming up with one fertilizer, one equipment dealer, and that allows them to share employees, technology, market intelligence, including land. Conserve working capital for multi-year setbacks. It's like the old adage, pay yourself first. Same situation here for farmers. Some lenders require 20% of your annual gross revenue. In other cases, they want 20% of the annual production expenses. If the agriculture marketing or market bubble ever burst, you're probably going to need more than 20%. So a lot of this makes common sense. Don't outsmart your common sense. It's just as important to manage your input costs as it is to manage that price risk and volatility. We usually talk more about that, managing that market price. If your input costs are too high, market prices may never rise high enough to cover those costs. Do the math, use the resources and the tools, find out if spending more dollars does actually generate more yield, and is it worth your time? Sometimes it does not pencil out. In our next video series, we're going to look at the 2012 U.S. drought, short crop, long tail year, and how to call a market top. I think this will be timely as the market seems to be maybe getting close to a top here. So thanks for joining us today. We hope we've provided shed some light on cost-benefit analysis using some of the tools, resources developed for you, the farmer, to manage and lower your input costs. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.